I think it's probably the worst thing that can ever happen to a police chief. A police chief absolutely feels responsible for the people underneath them. And I don't think there's a punch in the gut that you can get worse than that. And especially when you lose three in one incident, it's just almost inconceivable that you can rebound from something like that.
I do not know you, but I am your brother.
You do not know me, but I am your protector.
I will run into a burning building to save your life.
Though I do not know your name, I will take a bullet for you.
Though we've never met,
I believe in duty and sacrifice
of self.
Your family is my family.
Is my family. Your life is my duty.
What's going on, guys? Time for another episode of Behind the Uniform. Super excited and honored to be here at Angel Armor in Fort Collins, Colorado. Amazing organization, meeting some amazing people. If you've never seen the show before, the way that it typically works is that we usually do it at the Whiskey Wall back in Connecticut. We share a cocktail, we share a couple stories that tell you about a good day, about a bad day. But out here on the road, I've just met some absolutely incredible people, and I want to share their stories in a little bit of a different way. So why don't you tell everybody who you are?
I'm Pat Englade, and I'm a retired police chief from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I'm now the president of the Capital Area Law Enforcement Foundation.
Awesome. So I guess my big question for you, very simply, is why? How'd you get into doing what you're doing now?
Well, we ran into probably one of the worst situations any community can run into. In 2016, July, we lost 3 officers to a single incident, and 2 more were severely injured in an ambush on police officers, specifically an ambush. And we learned from that lesson, the lesson from that was that we were not adequately prepared for that, either from the training aspect of it or the equipment that was being used that day to protect them.
Talk to me about what it was like being a police chief and experiencing that level of horror.
I think it's probably the worst thing that can ever happen to a police chief. A police chief absolutely feels responsible for the people underneath them. And I don't think there's a punch in the gut that you can get worse than that. And especially when you lose 3 in one incident, it's just almost inconceivable that you can rebound from something like that. It's a horrible situation.
And this was after having, just sort of a rough go. You mentioned at one point you had several serial killers on the loose at one point. You had, the riots that you had to deal with. How do you go forward to bring together a community? You've got a community in mourning. You have other officers and their families that are in mourning. How do you move forward?
Well, and I think that if anything good came out of any of this was this community came together and they saw these widows and these children that were left without dads and husbands, and they embraced this whole group and the police department at this point. And it just became a total embracement of the department and the victims, which were the families of these officers that day, and I think that helped in the long run. I think that the community saw the need for that, and they came to it. It was a great experience to see those people actually become supportive of something like this.
So, a spectacular police chief, a life of service to the community, and yet you're nowhere near done with that. Talk to me a little bit about the organization now.
Well, I thought I was going to retire and have a good hunting and fishing career, but that there was something in me that said we need to do something about this. We need to make sure this never happens again. I became very close to the widows and the children of these officers. And I never wanted to see anything like that happen again. So we said, how do we go about trying to do this? And so we got together, we thought about it for a while, and we said, you know what, we need to equip these people with the best possible equipment we can give them. And because that day nobody was prepared for what their vests were not qualified for what happened that day. And so it was our mission then that we're going to put this together, we're going to start raising money, and we're going to buy vests for police officers that can help them in these kind of situations in the future.
You found a halfway decent company to work
I
with.
found a dang good company to help me.
Tell me a little bit about the relationship that you've developed with Angel Armor.
Well, I actually got a call from a young lady in New York who recommended Angel Armor to me, and she said, you know, you need to talk to them. She knew what I was doing. She was part of Back to Blue organization out of New York City, and she said, you need to talk to them. They've got a new product out, and it sounds good. And so I made a call, and then we kind of hooked up, and we started talking about this. And I'm not an easy sell. I mean, I had to buy equipment for police all the time. And I always thought that you got to give them absolutely the best you can give them. I never believed in doing something half-ass. I'm sorry for that phrase, but that's how I feel about it. And so we tested, we looked at the stuff, we shot this stuff with everything we could throw at it, and it worked. And I said, well, this is something that I think we need to invest in, and we need to have a relationship with Angel Armor at this point. So we're here today, we're going through this process, and hopefully we've formed a relationship here with the company, and we can bring these vests back to Louisiana, and we can start doing what we do best.
Awesome.
Raise money and buy vests.
Awesome. Brother, shameless plug time. How can people help?
Well, we have our site is CALEF, which is a Capital Area Law Enforcement Foundation. It's CALEF.LA. It's a good website. You can go to it, and certainly you can contribute on that site. And every penny goes to the buying of protective vests and protective equipment for police officers. Nobody in our organization makes a dime from this.
Guys, even if you can't afford to donate, ask you to hit that share button. It's going to take you 2 seconds to hit that share button to get this message out there. It's an incredibly worthwhile cause backed by an awesome company with a hell of a guy at the helm. So, brother, thank you for coming on the show. Guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for sharing this video. God bless America.